My name is Jeremy. Welcome to Inky Inspiration. Let's see. Today, like last time, my whole family is still home for the holidays. So, instead of doing a 3-hour stream like I was doing, I think I'm only going to do a short one for you today. Maybe 1 hour. We'll see. I have plans for 2 drawings. And kind of depends on how long those will take. Also, I ate a lot of salsa, like hot salsa last night. My mouth kind of hurts now. It's just like too burny, I guess. Like makes your mouth all kind of fuzzy feeling. So my first drawing, I'm trying to grab the right pens that I want. The idea that I had for my first drawing is gonna be a pretty simple one. You'd think that I would have a way to organize these pens better, but I don't. Sort of dig around until I find the ones that I want. Okay, I think those will be good for now. Anyway, for my first drawing, I was thinking about doing something like an old-timey telephone, but turn it into like a cartoon person. So they have like bells on the top, the part that makes it ring. And I was going to use those as kind of like the eyes. The part that you talk into is the mouth. Let's see what I can do. So, I don't know why, but I feel kind of intimidated to start. Maybe it's because I'm drawing something that looks like something specific. But the best way to start is just to make the first line. So we'll make the first line right here. And after you've made the first line, it gets a little bit easier because all you need to do is just keep going. So we'll make his eyes. You know what I could do is I could make his eyes separately, like cartoon eyes, and then make the bells like eyebrows. I think that's what I might do. So let's do his eyes on here. I find that when I draw characters in a cartoony way, I tend to like have them arching their back pretty far. But I guess they're cartoon characters. They don't really need to worry about having back problems. Alright, so those are going to be our big eyes. Let's put some on. Should I do kind of like the old-timey cartoon Pac-Man eyes? Let's do that. Let's see how that looks. Let's color that in real quick. I like to start with the eyes because it gives me a good frame of reference on where everything else is on the character's body. Also, it's easily recognizable. You have the first part done, then I don't know, it's just good to have a part done. Just realized my music was on shuffle instead of playing what I set out for it to play. Alright, so those are his eyes in the front of his body. Let's put these bells on, see if we can make them kind of look like eyebrows. We'll give them kind of a tilt. Well, they kind of look like mushrooms. That's okay. Or like a giraffe horns, maybe. Oh well. Let's add a little white reflection on them because they're shiny. And we're gonna make them kind of yellow. I don't have a gold color. I think that would have worked well, but yellow might work just fine. But I forget what the difference between my Bic yellow and my Sharpie yellow are. That's right, the Bic yellow is a little bit darker, so I think I'm gonna use that one. I'm playing music today. I'm playing music from Planet Coaster, which I've been enjoying as of late. I got it on sale, and then like a week later, it went on like a double sale. But oh well, it's kind of hard. You can't really predict those kind of things. So far, it doesn't look like much right now. Maybe a marshmallow or something. Let's give him a little bit of like a spine. Let's make him a little bit more three-dimensional here. Give the top of his head a little bit. Maybe I should have done that first before drawing those bells on. That would have looked a little bit better. Now they kind of like look like they're poking through the slats there. Give a little bit here to make the bell part look a little bit more three-dimensional. Alright, now we need to draw like the mouthpiece. Alright, let's see. Mouthpiece. It's kind of a wider base and then like a smaller little inlaid cup. I guess that's the part that people would talk into when they were making phone calls. It's kind of crazy to think that you'd have to like be standing right next to your phone, like standing by the wall to make a phone call. The only way that you could talk is if you had to be in a certain place in your house. And that's just crazy to think about nowadays. It's obvious that I don't know what I'm doing. Hopefully when I get finished with it, it'll make a little bit more visual sense, but right now it's kinda weird looking. I need to make that a little bit smaller. An aperture there. That looks terrible. Oh well. I'm gonna draw like a little bracket to little bracket that holds it in or holds it on. I'm enjoying how much more precise the tip is on these the big Sharpies. I mean, they're still kind of thick compared to like a regular pen, but they are more precise than the Sharpies. You can barely see that on the screen, but I'm just putting tiny little screws in that part. I'm using my pack of these are like really fine point Sharpie pens. I love this little pack. It's so portable. So there's that weird thing. I guess we gotta put the part where you actually dial the phone number, right? Well, I was meaning for the outgoing call receptacle thing to be the mouth, but it kind of looks like a nose. And this is the thing that lets you dial the numbers. It's looking more like a mouth now. Let's see. Just grabbing a pencil here. I'm really bad at judging like space, so I'm gonna use a pencil real quick to make sure I get all of the all 10 of the number holes. Have space for all of them. Nope, that's way too big. Drawing those way too big there. This might take a minute or two, so I'm going to cap my pen. Alright, here we go. A little bit smaller. Well, I guess that will have to work. I'm not super happy about it. I think I might have made this circle a little bit too small. There's not much I can do about that now, though. Alright, here we go. Man, drawing circles is hard. You wouldn't think so, but it's quite possibly one of the hardest shapes for me personally to draw. Alright, well. It's looking kind of goofy, but it's a cartoon, so that's okay. Take a coffee break. Has filled up a lot. I got this cool coffee cup for my, I don't want to tip it over too much, but for Christmas, I got this awesome coffee cup for my wife. It's like a ceramic mug, and I really like it. What's really cool about it is that this is actually my own picture. On the website, shoot, what's it called? On the, oh goodness. Excuse me. On the website, Society 6, I have a lot of my designs on there. And through them you can buy different things with my designs printed on it. And that's one of them, and I think it looks pretty good. Alright, let's draw the numbers in here. You know what? Once again, I'm going to use my a more precise tiny pen. Just so I don't make the numbers all scrunched up. I never usually draw my 4s like that, but might as well do it now. Oh, I almost drew 10 there, but we actually just need a 0. Perfect. I wonder when they started giving out phone numbers the way that we do now. Like when only a few people had phones, they probably didn't need to have such like really long phone numbers, right? But I don't know much. I don't know much about the development of the phone. Let's see. I know that Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone, and his first message was to his friend in the other room. It was, I want to say John. I'm not quite sure. But I think the first message was, John, I need you, or I need you to come in here, or something like that. Which was true, because Alexander Graham Bell, he kind of went crazy, and at one point he said that he is not leaving the room until he gets the phone to work. And so by the time he finally got it to work and messaged his partner, he had been in the room by himself for 3 months, and was half starved and severely dehydrated. But that's all why I made that all up. But something like that going on. I mean, people who invent things, minds usually work differently. I mean, to allow them to think of things like that. I was gonna leave a little white part there for like for the light coming in, but I decided it didn't look too good. Kind of I don't know. It didn't look right to me. So I guess this will be his mouth then. Eyebrows, eyes, nose, and mouth. Looks good. A lot of the ones I see have like a backboard kind of to them, so let's see if I can do something similar to that. Alright, let's give him some appendages. What do you think this guy should be doing? Should he be like pointing at something or waving? I have an idea. Alright, first I'm going to do this. Oh no. Oh. Excuse me. Oh my. Big sneeze there. His speech bubble is all jagged because he's old. Uh-oh. Did I leave myself enough room? It's my cat. I did not leave myself room. T-I-O. I'll have to, maybe if I kind of curve it. There. I guess that kind of works. So it's speech bubble, and we're gonna give them little cartoony stick arms. I think we're gonna have them like this. And our motion lines there. He's waving his little stick arms around. Alright, now his legs. Make him kind of like bow-legged. feel like I need to make these sticks a little thicker. Grab out my chisel tip. I'm not gonna, I don't think, use the whole tip. Just a bit to make it a little bit thicker. There we go. Oh. This music is just so pleasant. Right now in my game of Planet Coaster, I'm making a like a fairy tale themed park. It's going pretty well. I want to make like a whole bunch of different sections to it. I want to make, right now I only have like the peasant town kind of section, and it has like, it's at the front of the park, and I put a lot of the more gentle rides up front. I thought like if you have kids and they want to go to the park, but they don't want to go on the big scary rides, they want to go on the more gentle ones, you don't want to have to walk all the way to the back of the park to take them on the more gentle rides. So I put them up at the front, kind of like I made like a village that's being attacked by like a dragon as the scenery of my park, or the front area of my park. But I also want to do like a castle area, like an armory area, like where the knights are practicing and stuff. And I want to make an area with like witches in it, like kind of like a magic area. I think those would be good. I'm still learning on how to actually make my own roller coasters because it's kind of tricky. The game has so many customizable features that it's like you don't know quite where to start. If that makes any sense. It's just like too much freedom of choice. It's like that Devo song. Freedom of choice is what you have, but freedom from choice is what you want. Let's see what the difference looks in these browns. So that's the Sharpie brown, and that is the Bic brown. They're pretty much the same. The Sharpie brown maybe looks a little bit redder, which could be good actually, because his body is gonna be brown. He's made out of wood. So I wonder if I could use the Sharpie brown to try to like draw veins, like veins in the wood. We'll try it. We'll see what I can do. It looks a little bit like wood. We'll put a knot in the wood right here. Oh, my cats are fighting over there. And downstairs my kids are fighting. I kind of like the empty space right here. I don't think I'm going to put any wood grain right there. What do y'all think? I think that looks pretty good. I know we gotta do some on his side too. Don't want to forget that part. Although, technically, that would not be the same kind of grain as this piece. I don't think. I'm not sure, actually. Oh well. Alright, now let's see if this ends up being too much color. And oh well. I'd say that these two are different enough that this looks okay. I might need to make the lines outlining his body a little bit thicker though. I don't know, we'll color him all in first and see how he looks, and then we can go back and thicken the lines if we feel like that's necessary. Let's see, how does that look? Well, it's a real subtle difference, but I think it looks good. All right, well, let's go on and do this part, the front of him. There we go. I really don't mean to say that as much as I do. I know I say there we go a lot. I'm not quite sure why. I guess I'm trying to reassure myself that I'm doing an okay job. Alright. So we'll just keep coloring him in for now. And I stayed up late last night. Well, not too entirely late, but I stayed probably up later than I should have. Playing the new mode on Fortnite's Battle Royale. If you don't know, Fortnite Battle Royale, it's a free game right now. And it's kind of like Hunger Games. They drop you in on a big map with 99 other players, and you're just trying to survive. You're trying to be the last one alive. And there's, you know, guns and stuff scattered around the island, inside houses, and inside well, just like everywhere. And they just had a new mode that came out last night, and it's a you're in a team of four of the people, but all of the guns everywhere are all explosives. So it's like rocket launchers and grenade launchers, which right now, because of the holiday season, all the grenade launchers shoot snowballs, exploding snowballs that have faces and giggle when you shoot them, but snowballs nonetheless. So it's just crazy. It's like everybody has a rocket launcher. In the game Fortnite, what makes it interesting is you can build things. You can collect resources, and you can build all kinds of stuff, like a fort. It's from the Fortnite, from the name. Make yourself like shelter. So if somebody's shooting at you and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can basically build cover for yourself. And it's something that I haven't really taken advantage of. I mean, I use it to get up high and higher places on buildings and stuff if I see like a gun or a treasure chest that I want, but I should really take more advantage of it when I'm being shot at to protect myself. But when everybody has rocket launchers, it makes building things somewhat pointless, because they just get immediately blown apart. I guess it would still be helpful if like a rocket was coming at you, if you built something and then backed away enough that you wouldn't get any splash damage, but it seems like you'd have to be prepared for that kind of thing. It's like really on your toes. I'm not super good with the rocket launchers actually, because like I'm not used to them. You don't get them very much in the regular game, unless you're way at the end. Then usually you can find one. Like when you're down to 10 people or less, you can usually have at least one, either a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher. But so I'm not used to them. I'm fairly bad at it, at using them. But it's fun nonetheless. Everybody just blasting the heck out of everything. I also stayed up some of the night because I was working on I'm going to be leading my friends in a game of, I guess you'd say it was Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of like a homebrew. It's what they say in the biz. It's like they make I've kind of like made my own character system, and while the game will take place in a D&D setting, it takes place in the most fluid of the D&D settings, the city of Sigil, the Planescape, which basically is like anything that you want to be in there can be in there, because it's like a hub dimension between all other dimensions. Everything is connected to Sigil through portals and doorways and keys and stuff. So they will be in a D&D setting in the beginning, but eventually they will be going to other settings and stuff. I'm going to make the mouth part gray, actually, because if I made it black, well, you wouldn't be able to see any definition of it. And if I leave it white, it doesn't really fit. So gray shall rule the day. I have a fairly fun, I think, game planned for them. They're retired adventurers. They they have already gone on their quests and they have already saved the world or whatever it was that they did. That's all in the past. They're already done with all that, and now they own and operate a restaurant in this hub world. And so their new missions are going to be like going out, finding a book of recipes, or fighting a monster so they can take its monster meat and make a delicious rare dish from it, something like that. They're already strong, they're already powerful guys, so it's not going to be oh man, I don't know what to say. It's not going to be, I'm trying to make it not like a typical game of Dungeons and Dragons, because I find the typical Dungeons and Dragons to be kind of boring. I would say it's passé, but I'm not sure that I'm using that word correctly. Let's make the inside of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap this piece a couple times. That way it looks a little bit darker than the other gray. Do you like layering? I was just saying, like, Dungeons and Dragons is great, but I do feel like it gets kind of boring sometimes. It's because it's typically you see the same stuff over and over again. Like half-orc barbarians, and dwarves are all drunk and obsessed with gold, and elves are all wispy and think they're better than everyone else. And it's just it's a little bit been done. So I'm trying to give my players free reign over their characters, make them as crazy as they want, and I'm using like a kind of self-made skill system. That way they don't feel confined to have like something boring like strength. Like, my character's strong, my character is fast. I only know about one person's character so far. I just sent them all of the information yesterday, so I don't know how far everybody's got. But one person I know is going to be like he said it was a pseudo dragon, which I thought meant that he was not a real dragon, but he really, really wanted to be one. But it turns out it actually is a D&D thing. He's just a very, very small dragon, like the size of a house cat dragon, which is going to be interesting. He covers the finances, the finance side of the restaurant. So one of his skills is accounting. He's also has skills in poetry and in baking. And you may be thinking like, well, that doesn't sound like that's going to come that much in handy when you're on an adventure to kill a dragon to get some delicious dragon eggs to make a dragon egg omelet. And you would think maybe not, but I'm not going to just use the skills as is. I'm going to say, like, I'm going to let them kind of, fudge it a bit. Say like, well, he has skills in poetry, right? So there's a goblin guard in front of the door, so he can use his skills at poetry as like a stand-in for charisma or something, and you can try to talk to the guard, convince him to move or let them in or something like that. Well, I guess that's it. I guess that's my old-timey cartoon telephone guy. add a little bit detail up here. It needs a little bit more color, I think. Put some red and orange around the speech bubble here to, yeah, just give it a little bit more color. And then I think we're done. And we'll move on to the second drawing. Whew, this orange pen is, I think, seeing the last of its days. Sorry, orange pen. I got a new orange pen. You're no longer needed. Man, now that I've been talking about it, I really want to go play the Fortnites. See if I can do a little bit better on the high explosion thing. It's really, see, there's a whole bunch of different populated areas in the game, like cities and, well, not like cities, but like there's farms and towns and like it's like a fast food kind of district. I guess district would be the best way to put it. And if you when you jump out of the bus at the very beginning, if you land in one of these areas, chances are a bunch of other people have also landed in that area too. People are just drawn towards these large masses of buildings. So if you're doing the high explosives game and you land in one of these areas, you just assume that everybody immediately has a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher, so it's just chaos. It's just even more so than the regular game. It's just chaos, everything going everywhere, everything blowing up. What's interesting about the game is that the whole environment is destructible. Like, all the houses can be blown up, trees and rocks and everything can just be blown up. So if somebody is hiding behind a tree, if you have the ammo, you can just shoot the tree until it goes away, and then that person will just be left standing out in the wind. So obviously when you're in a town, if you're in Salty Springs, which has a bunch of like houses in it, and everybody's firing rockets, the whole thing gets blown up rather quickly. I think I'm going to need to do the inside of the speech bubble too. I think I'm just going to do it with some gray. But that way it's, it's like this, doesn't blend into the background quite so much. It's so nice having a red Sharpie again. Red is a color that has been growing on me recently. I didn't really like red so much for a while, but now I've started to appreciate it. Orange either. I mean, I still don't like orange. It's probably one of my least favorite colors, but I feel like it kind of, all the colors are important to have. And I like mostly all of them. But I don't care for orange. so excited for this D&D game. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna have my in Planescape D&D setting, City of Sigil, City of Doors. It's basically, think of a donut, right? The inside of the donut is the city, so it stretches around the inside of it. Now, this donut with the city on the inside of it is floating on the highest peak of a tower, and this tower is what's the best way to put it? Infinitely tall. It goes on forever, but even though it goes on forever, it does have a top and a bottom, which doesn't make any sense. But the whole setting doesn't make any sense. In this setting, you could literally walk to heaven or walk to hell. They're actually just dimensions on a big plane. If you're in there's no way to walk to Sigil, but that's alright because it has portals. There's different portals. Any enclosed area can be a portal. You could walk between, or you could walk into an archway, and it could be a portal. You could walk into a two trees that are leaning against each other, and that could be a portal. And each portal has its own sort of key to open it, and a key could really be anything depending on the portal. A key could be whistling a certain song. A key could be thinking about candy. It could be having a freshly cut rose, or it could be having a pile of junk, which makes it kind of dangerous because sometimes citizens will accidentally fall into a portal, into like imagine you're just walking along one day and you're going into a shop and you accidentally open a portal through the shop's doorway and just accidentally walk into the middle of hell. That would suck. But that's a thing that could happen in this campaign. I'm not going to have that happen to my players because it doesn't seem like fun. And when I do D&D or a game like that, I like to acknowledge the rule of fun. It's important to me that if something's funny or fun, then that's going to take precedence over everything. And having your characters just fall into into the middle of hell and be instantly killed or something, not so much fun. Not only is heaven and hell kind of like a real place in this setting, but there are the prime elemental planes too. So if you think of an element like fire and water and wind, you can actually go to a place where everything is water, everything is fire, and everything is wind, and everything is earth, which is not pleasant, obviously. If you can't breathe underwater, then it's not a good idea to go to a place where everything is water. If you cannot survive being on fire, then it's not a good idea to go to a place that's made completely out of fire, where the buildings are made out of fire. Everything is made out of fire. Not too much fun. There's a whole kingdom in there. There's a whole kingdom made out of fire. Fire people. And a king sitting on a fire throne. It's crazy. And then it gets even more interesting because there are sub-level planes. So, if there's the plane of fire and the plane of water, well, where they meet in the middle becomes the plane of steam. And, or if there's the plane of I'm trying to remember what what the different planes are. There's like the plane of ooze, which I think is between water and earth. And there's the plane of shoot, what is it? It's all different kinds. I'm gonna have them go to the plane of salt, which apparently sucks because, well, everything's made out of salt and everybody dries up when they go there. All their moisture sucked away. Anyway, well, here's my phone. I think it turned out pretty okay. Kind of funny looking. Whoops. Let's move on to another picture. I need a coffee break though real quick. My mouth is getting all bleh. It's a little bit better. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to draw a picture from a game I've been playing recently. The game called Hollow Knight. Oh, excuse me. My nose is kind of stuffy. So, Hollow Knight is a it's a pretty fun game. It is it's fairly difficult. It's all about exploration and all about exploring. It's a lot like Dark Souls, I guess. You're exploring a world that has begun to crumble, and or has been crumbling for many years, and also it's a world inhabited almost completely by bugs, which is kind of weird. And what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to draw a picture of, let's see, there's a character named Zote. He calls himself Zote the Mighty, but he is he's pretty terrible. You have to rescue him over and over again throughout the game because he's always like getting into troubles, and he is like a braggart, maybe that's how you say it. Whenever you rescue him, he's like, oh, you get out of here, you're in my way, and stuff like that. And it's not. He's mean. Eventually, you end up fighting him when you get to the oh my gosh, what is it called? It's like the Coliseum of Fools. I think it's what it's called. It's like a big arena. You fight a bunch of people, and you end up fighting him as like the boss, and he literally cannot actually hurt you at all. He is he spent the whole game you rescuing him and him being a whiny jerk, and then when you finally fight him, he's completely wimpy. You just end up batting him around the arena like a cat batting around a toy. But one of the important parts of the game is that you can basically go into this sort of dream realm place. When you're inside the dream realm, things are like a little bit different. So when you go in, there's a character in the main town who's your biggest fan. You rescue her, and she becomes in love with you. She's afraid to talk to you because she's embarrassed. Whenever you sit next to her, she blushes, and it's very cute. But after you defeat Zote in the arena of fools, the Coliseum of Fools, he will come back to the town and he will say that he was the victor, and your fan will fall in love with him instead, and she will start writing poems about him and idolizing him, Um, and you can basically go into her dream, and inside of her dream, she is sitting on top of a tower, like surrounded by Zots. They're like feeding her and worshiping her, and then you fight the Gray Prince Zote, and he's quite a bit bigger and more formidable, and it's actually a real fight this time. It took me a couple tries to defeat him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw Gray Prince Zote. The most handsome, most dashing, brave, courageous, something like that. When his name pops up, it like pops up with a whole bunch of different little descriptors like that, saying how great he is. So I'm going to draw his dream version first, and then I'm going to draw his I think I'll draw his regular version after that. So y'all can see the difference. Oh, excuse me. Now, since everybody in this game is like a bug of some kind, he has like these. There's a lot of kind of similar themes in the drawings. There's a lot of like kind of cartilage, exoskeleton kind of things going on. Like a lot of like bug type horns. Like you actually find a stag beetle. There used to be like a taxi service of stag beetles. You find the last one that was the last one alive, and you can ride him around when you open up the different stations for him. So Zote has these kind of horns, but they almost kind of look like they're broken at the top. I like to think that maybe he once actually was a mighty warrior, but maybe he's gotten old. Maybe that's why his horns look like they've been chipped, or maybe he is maybe he went crazy or something. He has a sword that he carved himself out of wood that he calls like Wife Taker or something like equally goofy like that. What do they say in the internet now? Like edgy, like he's an edgelord. That's a thing people say, I think. I don't know, maybe I might not be hip with the new lingo. He still has these kind of stubby arms though, even in his dream version. I'm gonna do him when he charges and he attacks you. He does like this kind of thing where he just basically waves his sword in front of you like this, kind of like I'm gonna wave my sword like this, and if you get in the way and you get hit, that's your fault, kind of thing. So that's what I'm gonna draw. It's when he's doing that kind of attack. Draw his little wooden sword here. Once again, I'm starting to sketch with my pens, which never works very well, so I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to draw some motion blur. like he's waving it. Kind of just looks like his sword's on fire. You can't really draw blurry things with a Sharpie. I mean, maybe there's a way and I just haven't mastered the technique yet, but I feel like that might not be possible. Alright, so I'm gonna give the sword some lines right here, kind of like grains in the wood. A cool thing about this game is that everything was hand drawn. It has a very nice art style. It's very amazing, and it's one of those games, a lot like Dark Souls, where I kept going because I wanted to see what the next area looked like, what the enemies were gonna be, what was in store. I persevered to find out. He has, even in his dream version, he has tiny little legs too, which is, I think I might have said this in another video, but I think it's hilarious in cartoons when characters have like these big, huge bodies and then like tiny little limbs. I mean, obviously, part of it's the fact that this is like a dream version of him, and the person who is thinking up this has kind of made him bigger and bulkier. You're basically fighting like a fan fiction version of the character. Another thing I like about this game is that when something is black, it is just straight black. It is not... They don't really mess around. Like the character's body, it's usually just straight black, inky. Also, it's a really... I think it's a cheap game. It's like $10. And 10 or 12, you can probably get it on sale for even less. And it is long. It is a long game. I thought there was many times where I thought, okay, this is the final area, that I'm finished. This is the end. And then I found a whole nother part of the level, and I was just amazed. And it did that thing that I find very endearing with video games. And once again, I'm going to compare it to Dark Souls. In Dark Souls, there's a whole secret world that's hidden behind two like illusionary walls. It's very well hidden. You don't need to go there to finish the game. It's completely optional. And I love the fact that the designers were like this. Made a whole area that the average player might not even ever know exists. And that kind of happens in this game several times too. In Dark Souls, it's like my favorite. It's my favorite area. It's like a big, you like fall down a tree, like a giant hollow tree, and you end up in this area that is. It's like what the world looked like in the beginning. It's kind of gloomy, kind of dark. There's huge ocean as far as you can see, and giant trees in the distance. And you're just running along the shoreline. And it's very cool. I love it. This game has a similar kind of thing too. It has let me do his face. It has areas like that as well. Areas that you don't need to go to finish the game. There's a whole hive, like a beehive, that you can go to. It has nothing to do with anywhere else. You don't need to go there to progress the story. You might not even find it because it's hidden behind a wall. And it just amazes me, like, that somebody would be dedicated enough to build something into the game that people might not ever see. In the game, his head is not actually that gray, but it's like the only gray pin I have. Alright, let's see. I think his like chest ruffle is like a very dark blue. And I know I have a very dark blue. But last time I saw it, it was actually downstairs. This one will probably work just fine. Let me see. Oh, that's actually kind of like a blue-purple color. It might be good. Let me see if I put a little gray, and then I put this over it. Doesn't actually look that much different. What if I do this and then give it a couple extra coats? Darker. I don't know if that's dark enough though. Oh well. So I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do this chest ruffle in gray first. We're going to try to do some shadows or some shading. See how it works out. After you defeat the dream version of Zote, the fangirl starts to realize that he's actually quite boring, and he doesn't seem to stop talking. He's while you're fighting the dream version of him, he is talking to her about his brilliant conquest in the Colosseum of Fools, and he says the reason why he was able to succeed is that he has, I want to say 37. It's 37 virtues that he holds dear. And then he will, if you stand there, he will go through all of them. You can listen to every single virtue. It's quite funny that they put that in the game too. I actually have not had the patience to sit through and listen to it all. Someday maybe I will. But in the beginning, she is completely enraptured by him and hanging on to his every word. After you defeat the dream version, though, she begins to realize that he doesn't shut up. Well, this isn't having quite the effect that I thought it would, but it still looks nice. I can't decide what color this is. It does look like kind of blue. It also kind of looks like a royal purple to me. Whatever it is, I really like it. I actually haven't finished this game. I could if I wanted to. Like, it's one of those things where I have everything I need to go and fight the final boss. But I went and I read about how there's a separate ending you can get, and there's the true final boss. And I want to fight the true final boss. So that means you have to do a whole bunch of extra steps. So my characters, I'm in the middle of doing that. They released some free DLC for the game as well. It's called the Grim Troop, and it's about, so like, you accidentally summon like this group of basically demon bugs. And they're like, it's like a circus troupe, like a performer troupe. And so you have to fight like the troop leader Grim and his cohorts and stuff. And it's actually, he is such a hard fight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Oh crap, I used the wrong colors that I meant to. I meant to do this one. It's that color. Well, shoot. Well, heck, I'll just leave it like that. I mean, I can't change it, so I have no choice to leave it. Ooh. Oh well. Alright, let's do a sword real quick. Oh my gosh. I'm going to finish this sword, and then I think I'll call it a day. It shouldn't take very much to do it. I just do the handle here. And this, his swift blade, which I think I already said this, but it's made out of wood. So do it kind of like this. Don't want to press down too hard because it's supposed to be blurry with movement. What I'm going to kind of do is like this, kind of give it like a movement effect to it. And then I think I'll just leave that part white. I was thinking about filling it in with gray, but I think that might kind of negate this effect that I'm putting on the sword right now, and I don't want to do that. See. Tidy up this line real quick. Tidy up this line down here too. Alright. There he is, Grey Prince Zote. Not too bad, even though I messed up that his kind of like crest in the middle. It looks like a bug, just like a bug shell to me that he used as decoration. But anyway, it doesn't look too bad to me. I think what I'm going to do next time is I'm going to draw the scene where regular Zote is talking to the fangirl bug and have this be like a bubble in her imagination. But we'll do that next time. As for now, thank you for watching. If you like my art, go ahead and go onto Instagram. I have my profile on there, and I post not only what I do during these streams, but I post other things too that you wouldn't see if you were just following here. I hope you have a wonderful new year. Have a good time. Don't party too hard, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.